My obeisances and gratitude to all the devotees, especially to Dwarkadhish Prabhu for having Vishaka, Priya and myself here in this beautiful, nice temple of Lord Jagannath. Thank you for being here today morning. Hare Krishna. So today is not a regular Bhagavatam class like you have, but it is more like Bhagavatam class in action. So it is a Bhagavatam class, but not, we don't have verses and recitation like that. Correct? So topic for discussion today, dear friends, is living with differences. So, and why is this important for us? For the very simple reason is because we are all very different from each other. And we have to live with each other, correct? We are different from each other and yet we have to live. Is that easy? If you're all very same people, then it will be very nice. But we're very, very different, right? And therefore, diversity, so we want to first establish this premise, this paradigm, that diversity is absolutely fundamental to the world's existence. That everything and everyone is of a diverse nature. It goes to the extent of how, when you see this, there are two coconut trees outside I can see, sitting here, right? But they say that every tree, if you look at the leaves under the microscope, every leaf of every tree is different, right? So for example, I look like, oh, they are all coconut trees, but they are all individual leaves. Every snowflake is supposed to be different than the other snowflake. So if every snowflake, so during snowing, in India we don't see snow, but in abroad we see, days and days of snow will be there. And how many flakes are flying from the sky? Is not countable. And yet how is it possible for the Creator to make every flake different than the neighboring flake? That should be enough to bewilder us actually about the Lord's creation. That how such amount of variegatedness is possible. So, variegatedness, which is the anti-Mayavad concept, is fundamental to our philosophy. We are not one. We are all very, very different. We are also one. We'll talk about how we are one a little later. Right? So, given the fact that we are all different, and what makes us unique is our own individual consciousness, which is governed by our ego, right? And therefore, we have, how many of you have your egos with you? You're not left at home, na? If we come to temple also, we bring our mobile, our bead bag and our ego. We bring that wherever we go. We carry our purse, we carry our bead bag, but we also carry our, wherever we go, it is always there. You cannot leave it in the safe deposit vault. It's going to be there with you, right? And that is a very powerful force. And therefore, when we marry, how many of you are married here? Okay. Those how many people are not married are going to marry? So everybody is married potentially. Right? So the discussion is relevant to everybody. So when you marry, there will be how many egos then? How many egos? At least minimum 2. Good. But the potential to grow into 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Right? And you are staying with parents, Hare Krishna. They also have their own side. So This is challenging, obviously challenging, but it is not a utopian idea. Why I am saying not utopian? Because even few decades back in this land of Dharma, India, Bharatvarsha, right, we had a system of joint families. It may all be like a word we have heard, joint family. There used to be joint families like that. There are few now, but we have heard stories of 50 people staying under the same roof. We have heard stories like that. 4 brothers with their respective wives, and there are 2, 3, 4. That time they used to have more children. Now families are very small, but more children. So then of course parents would be there together. So 50, 54, the last figure I had was 74 people together. That is my highest, which I have heard. That was in Kolkata. That means there are people who are living like this. And this is not in Satyuga, this is in, and there are some people still like that, the vestiges are still there, right? However, what we are looking at today, my dear friends, is does Krishna consciousness, which is, as Prabhupada said, quote unquote, the panacea cure for all evils of society. Are we convinced about that? That Prabhupada was an acharya who actually through his books and teachings gave us not just a philosophy but a lifestyle which is absolutely viable, right? We are all, you and I are examples of the viability of this philosophy, right? That Krishna consciousness and Prabhupada's teachings does provide us with what we call as tools. Tools to navigate through this challenge of people staying together in a family and staying harmoniously in the community. Right? So our discussion today, dear friends, will be based on 2 different, interrelated but 2 different aspects. One is harmonious family living in the family. We talk about 2, 3, 4, what number of members are there, and we are also looking at a small discussion along with that, side by side, how all of us can live together into communities. Why is that important? Family importance, I think you can understand immediately, that is definitely relevant. But community also is very relevant because Prabhupada has made a house in which the whole world is supposed to live. Oji, my friend is behind. That one. Nice to see you. So having given us that particular blessing where the whole world can live together, and Prabhupada would in one sense brag, if I can use the word brag. Prabhupada never a bragger, but we could brag that ISKCON is the nations. And he showed, he wasn't saying, he showed that how diverse people of diverse nations, ethnic backgrounds, religions, all were staying together. And therefore, the purpose of ISKCON is to establish Vaikuntha on earth. Actually. Before we go to the actual spiritual world, which is our ultimate destination, we can only go there when we establish that atmosphere of Vaikuntha within our own hearts first. Unless there is Vaikuntha in our heart, there is no Vaikuntha Gamanam. Guru Maharaj established Vaikuntha in his heart, and then he went to the actual place which is called as Vaikuntha. Right? So hopefully we all are tuned into this understanding today, by which we can live a life based on such principles where we can live with all our differences which are there, which will be there. They were there, they are there, and they like Krishna says in the Gita, right? There was a time when you did not exist, nor these kings, nor the future will ever cease to be. Correct? So differences were there, they are there, and tomorrow whatever we do or don't do, they will always be there. And yet, we are carriers of Prabhupada's legacy, and therefore we would like to live that philosophy. So this is the background. So this is setting the context.
So when we say differences bring about what? Differences bring about variegatedness, but they bring about disagreements, right? Because you think differently, I think differently. So what do we have? Disagreement. Common, right? What are the common things on which we could have disagreements? And this we have taken in the family scenario. What are the different things which we disagree on? Financial satisfaction. The husband has a particular understanding of finances. Wife has a particular understanding. You could disagree on finances. You could disagree on the language. I mean, the differences are because of you are Telugu and I am Gujarati and we married. So what happens, it's going to be different. It takes time to understand each other's language. You might be giving me a compliment and I'll think you are saying bad words to me because I don't understand your language, They could cause disagreement, right? They could be family members ke karan disagreement. In-laws are there. Your parents and my parents. Always, no? We never say our parents, right? Your parents did this and my parents are like this. No, your parents are like this and my parents are like this. So there may not be any problem between us, but taking parents, there could be a lot of disagreement. And when we travel abroad, we know that so many people have shifted there simply as a mechanism to avoid this issue. And they frankly tell that out of sight, less problems are there because of distance. So they shifted there simply because of this issue, right? Degree of compromise on the standards. We all are Vaishnavas and we follow 4 regulative principles, and we have certain standards in our devotional life according to which we want to live our life, like deity worship standards. For example, I might want big deities at home and he might say, what is the need of deities, we don't have time for ourselves where we can take care of deities. Small deities, you may want Gaur Nitai, I may want Jagannath, but that could also become a cause of disagreement. Now it's Krishna centered, but still we could have a big fight. I want Gaur Nitai and you want Jagannath. It could be, agree? There could be a cause of disagreement on that, right? Balancing material and spiritual life, very big problem. Because this is a very relative world. Very relative world, right? So sometimes there is always a confusion, and the commonest question asked by Grihasthas is what? How to balance, services, temple work, preaching, book distribution, all this is, having Bhakti Vriksha programs, all this is very important and it's very attractive. Why? Because we get a pat on the back. Oh, so much services are being done, so much is being done, right? So you like to do this, and of course if you don't do it, then who will do it? Mission has to grow, isn't it? If all of us think, no, I don't do this, then how will the mission grow? It can't grow. On the other hand, also if we land up neglecting families at the cost of services, which are also important, what happens?
Mission doesn't grow.
Misunderstandings and disagreements grow. It's both. We have to, unless we understand in our Krishna conscious maturity that both are equally important. You cannot say one is more important. Which is more important? Spiritual life or family life? So some people say, obviously spiritual life, we are supposed to be spiritualists. We must do that, right? And sometimes we might say, no. In class we heard that family life is important. So some people give up all their services and now I'm just going to be with the family, my wife, my children, my husband. I don't want to do any temple services. Both are equally wrong. So what does our sadhana help us to do? When you do good sadhana, Krishna gives us the intelligence to balance both. There is never a barometer or a litmus test where you put how much No, that's not there. It's all a matter of time, place, circumstance. Different things might be important according to time, place, circumstance, isn't it? So it's very, very important to have a proper balance, and which will only come through good sadhana and good association. When we hear properly, when we chant properly, Krishna sharpens our intelligence and guides us from within, that at what time what is more important to be done and how I can do both equally without neglecting either of them. You cannot neglect either of them. Missions don't grow just by sitting in the house, right? But families can get destroyed if you are just going to, not give attention to them and do that. So obviously we understand the balancing necessity. Otherwise there could be massive disagreements. Giving quality time to each other, that's also part of that balancing. That if the family members feel neglected, that all the time, if the children feel all the time my parents are in the temple, and then you tell your children become devotees, you should also chant, say no, but Papa, I hate Krishna because Mommy, I hate Krishna because he is taking away all my, that time which I was supposed to get is so much taken away by Krishna. So I hate you. I hate Krishna. I hate Krishna consciousness. So many times we have that queries, that why family members don't become devotees. You could preach to the whole world. Schools and Gopal Swan schools and you could make so many families of Lord Krishna into devotee. However, your own family members will not become devotees. Why? Why? Because they are not seeing that maturity in you. We are the cause of them not becoming devotees often. Because they are not seeing us balance both the lives properly. Because love is equal to time. If I say, oh, I love you, but I don't have time for you. But I love you, but I don't have time for you. So where's the question of love without time? Can we give? If I tell Krishna, Krishna, I love you, but I don't have time for you. I don't have time to come to temple, I don't have time to chant. Then what sort of love? Love is translated into service and time. Unless we serve Krishna, unless we take out time for Krishna, we don't love Krishna. Similarly, if we don't love our family members and take out time for them and serve them and do our duties responsibly, what happens? We actually don't love them. So it's very simple that the family is going to translate love as time. So you could have difference of opinion. Many times we ask couples, that, oh, are you spending enough time with each other? So husband will say, yes, of course. And the wife will say, when? When do we, you don't have any time. So it's the same family we are talking to, not other people. But one person perceives it as this and the other person perceives it as that. At different social and cultural backgrounds, as we said, if you are from different family, different cultural, and especially that happens in ISKCON. Russians marrying Maharashtrians, right? You see, one couple we know of. Slovenian husband, very fair and one Maharashtrian girl, Gahu Varni. And the children are pure Rasgullas born, white. And you feel that, oh, Chiku, what are you doing? How are you? Mi bara hai. The answer comes in Marathi. You pure foreigner looking fellow, and he will give answer in Marathi. So you are like really shocked that, oh, I also know Marathi, but I thought he will understand English, so I am speaking that. That's such cross-cultural, Bengali is marrying North Indian and South Indian marrying, and because we unite on a higher platform, right? We are devotees, so maybe it would work. It should work, but sometimes it doesn't work because of cultural differences also. Difference in natural behaviors, opinions on specific material issues. All of us are having our own opinion. Nowadays even children have their opinion from this age. When we were kids, we didn't have opinions. What our parents said, we would say, yes, Papa, yes, Mommy. But today, the small kids, 3-4 years, they will come and say, sorry, Mom, I don't agree. You're shocked, What right you have got to agree or not agree? You just do what you're supposed to do. What we do, you should do. But they have everybody has, and unless you respect their opinion, you will not be able to have a congenial, peaceful environment at home, right? And major differences and disagreements take place because of what? Expectations. We'll come to that little later because that requires some more time. And on food cooking, food habits, right? When one of our devotees, he was a Bihari and he was marrying a Gujarati girl, her spiritual master said that you better get used to eating sweet dal. Because Gujaratis will put sugar in everything, If you are marrying, you will have to get used to that. Otherwise, you will not be able to be happy. Starting right from that basic thing. It's a very basic thing. Food cannot become the center of our life. Because we are not on the Annamaya platform. But still, that could become a point of contention. Okay, I like spicy and you like sweet, How can we do together? How can we be together? Like my sister is Gujarati, she married Kannada, and she first thing we all told her that Baba, you please forget dal, rice, sabji, chapati. You learn how to make idli, dosa, vada, sambar, chutney, all those things, because that's what your husband is going to like. And so first thing she learned was Kannada language and South Indian food. And now she's almost forgotten how to make Gujarati food. She makes such excellent South Indian prasad. And our family is happy, and that's what you want, So she's now no more part of our family. Better she makes the people happy where she's staying, right? So food could be there, health issues, and sometimes issues are absolutely causeless. It's a causeless mercy. There could be causeless issues between us. Petty issues. For example, one couple went to the marriage counselor, to the court that we want to apply for divorce. So before you take divorce, you are supposed to meet a marriage counselor. So they met the marriage counselor and they said that counselor is saying, no, but why don't you just talk it out? Alright, sir, we have already talked out. You think we have come to you just like that? Saying, no, did you take guidance from your parents? Everything is done. We talked it out, we took guidance from parents, and did you, give time to your marriage? Of course we gave time to our marriage. But now we have concluded we just can't stay together. Right? It's getting too much. So the counselor asked that, why? Why do you? What is the key point? Like one reason, what's the good word? Why you want to separate? Saying because she doesn't respect me. They said, Acha, could you elaborate on that? Like, why do you feel she doesn't respect? Saying, of course, sir. Since years I've been telling her that you should press the toothpaste from down to up systematically. Go from down to up, and she always presses from the middle. She doesn't respect my opinion. I am telling her you should always do systematically. It's a real case, sir. Real case. And he took that as disrespect. Okay, she doesn't respect me. So the marriage counselor says, sir, I have a suggestion for you. So sir, what? Why can't you both have two separate toothpastes? Let her press her toothpaste from wherever she wants to press, and you press from where you want to press. Give that space to each other and live and let live. Is it not easy? So you don't look at her toothpaste only and feel disrespected, and let her not do that. So it could be such a stupid, petty issue also, which we are laughing at, but they were about to separate, translating that as disrespect, because disrespect is a serious thing. But they took this petty issue as disrespect. And what to talk of expectations, right? That is why when we do premarital training, we say that one of the most important things before you get married is what? Clarify your expectations. If you have not clarified only, and you just get married and then you say, Arey, I didn't want you to do this. For example, if you want a working partner or not a working partner, right? It's an important thing. That in today's scenario, that was not so many years ago, that I want a housewife. Arey, but you didn't tell me before, I have MA LLB. And I have done my MD, MS, and you want me to be a housewife. You should have told me this before. I don't want to be a housewife. Right? So if you don't clarify your expectations, there is short disagreements. So the term which is used for this is what? Have realistic expectations. We stay in almost 500 families staying in a small area. 5, 10 devotees minimum are staying. I guess yours is also like that, Singapore township, but ours is a little more bigger. And people shift to Mira Road with a utopian idea. Oh, so many devotees, whole day we will do kirtan, and some people will come to my house and I will go to your house. And we will just keep having Krishna Katha, and everybody will be on the same page that we should do preaching, we should do seva. And then when they come there, actually with all these hi-fi expectations, I will be living in Vaikuntha. What happens? Realistically, it's not true. Even though you are staying in the same building, but everybody has their own profession, they have their own families, they have their own services, temple services, the different varieties of services. Sometimes as often as you thought, and devotees get frustrated, and then they become what? Critical. What is this? We thought we are coming in a devotee community, and is this what we expected is going to happen? Nobody has time for us. Nobody's calling me for prasad to their house. Then I am calling for prasad to my house and nobody wants to come. No, I'll come later. Right? And preaching, I thought we will all preach together, but he has a different way of preaching. I have a different way of preaching. Everything, what all I expected by coming into a devotee community, that everybody will say yes to whatever my ideas are. That's basically what I expected. And the people would have expected that you are coming into our community, you will say yes to whatever our ideas are. So again, all that creates so much of disagreement, disturbance and difference of opinion, and so much problems come about. So we are, as we say, community is made up of families, and nations are made up of communities. So community living is not easy, because all these things extrapolated in that count. That, as we said, if you are not realistic in your expectation, you will always disagree, fight and get frustrated, and your frustration will come out in what form? Your frustration will come out by becoming very, very negative, by becoming critical and making the whole environment very political, and parties will start happening. Prabhuji, it's like that. You should also say like this. Why don't you also say? So we put our ideas on other people and everything. Then it all becomes, in the house also it becomes India Pakistan, and in communities also it becomes India Pakistan, right? That's why they have so many factions. In Christians also they will have the same thing. They are what are the two? Protestants and Catholics. They will have in Indians. In Hindus also you will have this belief wala and that belief wala. In Muslims also you will have Shias and Sunnis, and why all this? It's supposed to be one, na? Why can't we unite on a higher platform? Why we can't? Because of just these three letters, EGO. Because we think that, I think it should be like this, and if it is not like this, then finished, right? So like in family, if my expectations are not realistic, every husband wants a Miss Universe to be their wife, but she should work at home like Shantabai. Unrealistic expectation. And every wife wants her husband to be Dhirubhai Ambani, but he should be Manmohan Singh. Not possible. Be realistic. Anywhere you go, if you are not realistic, whether it is in a new family, in a new community, you will be frustrated, you will frustrate others around you, you will become negative, you will make others negative around you, right? So disagreements is natural. What we are just trying to show, that all these and much more, we can elaborate on this, each one of them for a long time, but all this and much more could be the cause of disagreement. But is it possible to live together with all these disagreements? Is it possible? Usually it seems impossible. No. So many reasons how can we live together, right?
So you went through a sample of all the disagreements. Sample. It's just right? As you said, it could be infinite practically, disagreements. So, as you said at the beginning, we are here to highlight the disagreements, yes, but we are also here to look at what are those.
If at all. Are there any agreements? Are there any agreements?
Yeah, to actually explore that, do we really agree or not on anything?
On anything.
So, or are we just a bundle of disagreements, right? So, let us explore that, because that is going to be what is potentially the binding factor, right? So, what do we agree upon?
Whether you paid attention to all this or not, now is the important discussion.
So do we agree on anything whatsoever or no? What do we agree upon?
Nothing.
Do we all agree that one of the finest thing in ISKCON is prasadam? That we are kitchen religion and there is no program incomplete without a paneer ka sabji, right? And a rasgulla, right? So we agree that prasadam is important. But yes, on the more serious side, do we all agree that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead? How many of you really agree with that? Say Hari Bol. Louder. Ete cha amsa kala pumsa Krishnastu. Right? So no matter what the world will say, he is God, that God, she is God, he is God, they are God, all of us are gods. Or as Prabhupada said, there is no God. Or God is dead. God was there but he is dead now. Because time has passed, so much time has passed. So he created the world and he died afterwards. So yes, there will be variety of opinions, but we stand with our opinion that Krishna was, is and will be, according to Chaturshloki Bhagavata, he is always the supreme personality of Godhead. Correct? And how beautiful is that understanding, right? How happy we are with that. That we know this. The world doesn't know this. 99.999 people don't know that this is what, and what we take for granted. Krishna, what is it? I mean, you presume that everyone in ISKCON accepts this, but it is such a powerful conclusion which we have accepted as gospel truth in our life. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? And our goal of life is to live a life of surrender to Him. Do we all agree that Prabhupada is the Acharya who actually has brought the message of Krishna consciousness to redirect this crazy civilization? We all agree. Everyone has an opinion that no, this Acharya, that Acharya. Is Prabhupada the Acharya?
Yes.
What do you call as the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all of us? We have our gurus, our spiritual masters, right? And that's wonderful. All of them are Prabhupada disciples. But no matter who our guru is, we all bow down when we come to temple to his divine grace, because he is our primary Shiksha Guru for the entire ISKCON for eternity. It will always remain like that. Correct? What else do we agree upon? Do we all agree that a Mahamantra is way to achieve Krishna? That is a Yuga Dharma, right? Or we agree that Mahamantra is Yuga Dharma? Say Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Right? The Yuga Dharma is Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. So we've got three things we agree upon. Prasadam, Krishna, what else? Harinam, right?
Prabhupada.
And Prabhupada is our Acharya, correct? Do we agree that the basic grantha for the whole world is Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Or is it some Devi Puran? Is that Devi Puran is there, no? Is there. We respect Devi Puran definitely. But is Devi Puran the grantha for the whole world? Bhagavad Gita. We agree? Yes. Say Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Correct. So, on a more family level, do we all agree that we want to live a harmonious Krishna conscious life, or do we have nice children, Krishna conscious children? We agree with that? Yes? Say Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Correct. The goal of life is to perform bhakti to Krishna. Correct? Tasmadikina manasa Bhagavan Ishvara Hari Shotavya Kritavesya Deha Pujasya Nityada. Right? And our goal is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. We agree on that? Yes. Loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Correct? Our goal is to preach and bring, just like you and I have come to this movement, very fortunate, we want to bring more and more souls not only in Singapore community, this particular nice community here, but we have to bring the whole world to Krishna consciousness. Is it not? We have to make some efforts to bring that everyone should get this golden message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We agree with that? Yes, very well. Correct. So there are many things we can see which we all are agreeing upon also. Is it not true? And there are even more things than this. But this again, this is a small sample of all that we agree. Right? There are many things we agree upon. So, when we husband and wife agree on these things, when the community agrees on these things, this, as the slide says here, do we all agree that the bond we have, talking about family life, talking about husband and wife relationship, that the bond, do we agree on a more Laukik platform, that the bond between husband and wife is a sacred bond? Is it a sacred bond? It's a sacred bond, right? It's not a flimsy bond. It's a sacred bond. Bond created between two civilized, well-informed, mature human beings, right? Who are taking some vows for the rest of their lives, right? In the midst of respectable people like Swajan, elders, the sacred fire, before deities, right? Before Vaishnavas, correct? Sometimes before the spiritual masters. So before all of these people, we are taking a sacred vow for continuing relations for the rest of our life. Do we agree on this? It is true, right? And therefore, this bond is sacred, solid, unique, powerful, and definitely this bond is worshipable because we worship this bond. Why? Because this bond is designed in such a way that it was actually, this bond will lead us towards enhancing our bond with Krishna. It is a Grihastha ashram. It is not just a nice, it's not a bond of convenience where I love you, you love me, and therefore we are going to marry each other, right? That may be there, we love each other, but the purpose of that love is to bring us closer to Krishna ultimately, correct?
So when we see the number of things, there are, in terms of numbers, there are more things we agree on or disagree on? Disagree on, because we just put few. We make the list, you won't be able to read it also. Such a big circle would have been there, right? So now we have to think that if on one side you put agreements and on the other side if you put disagreements, what happens when you give importance to disagreements? What is the result of giving more weightage to the disagreement between any two parties? What happens? Yeah. Disturbance increases. Thank you, Prabhu. What else happens? Rift. There is a rift between two parties. What else happens? Please, you all speak, otherwise you all will sleep, we will also sleep.
You try to find more and more faults which you generally ignore, but you again.
Yeah. Appreciation breeds appreciation, faults breeds faults. You will see more and more fault because you are vocalizing it. First you are thinking about the faults, then you are vocalizing it. So sometimes you get convinced and you convince others also. Okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. No peace. What else? What else happens? When you focus on disagreements more than agreements, what happens? We are not able to actually appreciate each other's glories. Glories are there, right? Can there be who is fully black? Or is it that you are fully white? No, no. All of us are what? Grey. All of us are grey. That's why usually people like grey color as the best color. Means grey is a symbol of balance. All of us are. When we criticize and point faults and focus on the difference of each other, that means you are having a holier than thou attitude. That, see, this is the way it should be. You feel proud about the way you are thinking. That is why it is said it's not about right or wrong. We are not talking only what's right or wrong. We are just talking of how we can accommodate the difference, because difference will remain. So yes, what Prabhuji said. What else? What is that?
Frustrating.
Frustrate each other. Yeah, each other is an important word. Not that others get frustrated and you are able to be happy. Even you remain frustrated, right? So is there anything positive you can think of that happens by focusing on difference? Anything positive happens to opposite party or to us? Nothing. So if you see results on focusing on differences, there is disturbance in sadhana also, right? When you have fight and disagreement with your family, who love you, you also love your family. Can you do your sadhana good on that day? Can you do? Or between any two devotees, if we have disagreement, will our sadhana be good or bad? We will also be disturbed, they will also be disturbed, right? The mind gets disturbed. Obviously now you can't be peaceful. I have created disturbance, but I am peaceful. I am not affected. Does it happen? No. Everybody gets disturbed, right? That leads to depression, despondency. Can you all see?
Cannot see because you all are sitting in such a diverse angle. Huh?
Why? There is place here, Prabhu. Idhar aa jaiye na. Prabhuji, you all can shift. Depression, despondency, all these things happen. It's okay. Yes, Prabhu. You will obviously be despondent about the whole thing, you know, that what you will think, अरे family life में कुछ है ही नहीं. That's why divorces take place, right? When you feel family life में कुछ है ही नहीं, that's what suicides takes place. When you feel family life में कुछ है ही नहीं, so that's how what happens? Everything gets blown up, right? So depression. Third thing which happens is what you will end up doing? Offenses. This is a very important thing. You feel offenses are only towards devotees in the temple. घर वाले के साथ क्या offense? मेरा husband है, मेरी wife है. I can do what I want to do, you know. But Prabhu, Mataji, we are forgetting that our husbands and our wives are also and offenses are to devotees. And every day we are chanting very boldly 10 offenses to the holy name. And the first one is what? To blaspheme the devotees of the Lord who are dedicated. So devotees of the Lord are not only outside the house, they are also inside the house. And even in communities when there are disagreements between, you know, devotees, we are committing what? Offenses. When there are disagreements, you don't glorify each other, na? That, oh, we are different, you know, but it's so wonderful. Everything. Do we say that? Huh? We will end up committing offenses. And by doing offenses, do we make progress in spiritual life? Do we make progress? We fall down sometimes. That is why it is said that even if you are chanting your rounds nicely, you are associating nicely, but if you are committing offenses, sure, today or tomorrow you will fall down. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions that in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that the only two things you need to do to go back to Godhead are what? Chant 16 rounds and don't commit offenses. And that's what Prabhupada was told by some of his god brothers, or, you know, they said that the only problem with your devotees is they are not sufficiently scared of Maya or of committing offenses. Bindas, you know, we are chanting, na? So offenses will get washed out. But it is what? Kunjara Shauchavat type of thing. I'll commit offense, then I'll chant. I'll commit offense, I'll chant. But can you get cleaned by doing all those things? So offenses are so dangerous that, you know, over the period, when we are young devotees, we are scared of committing offenses. Oh, no. Even if I feel something is wrong, I don't want to say, Baba, I want to safeguard my spiritual life. But as we start becoming senior, we feel we have a right to comment on everything. We have a right to say whatever we feel like before we filter our talks out of fear. When you get married new, you feel that, you know, I should not say, otherwise what will happen? If I say something, girl will run away, boy will leave me. But after few years, what you say? Ab kahan jayenge? Abhi kuch bhi, bindas. The same thing happens. Old devotees and new devotees. One person was coming to temple for so many years. So the local leader said that, "Arey bhai, you are coming so much, why don't you become a full-time devotee?" Saying, nah, I don't want to become. The amount of respect and love and importance you give me, because I'm not a full-time devotee, is so much more. And I've seen how you behave with your other devotees who are full-time. You take them for granted. So I better remain a new devotee only, visiting devotee, better. So is it positive preaching or negative preaching we are doing? Negative preaching we are doing, right? So offenses, it leads to deviations. What deviations are we talking about? What deviation are we talking about? When we focus on the differences more, what type of deviations take place? What is extramarital affairs? What is extramarital affairs? Isn't it a deviation? But because you are just going on focusing on the difference, so the partner start feeling, yeah, I'm not valued, I'm not this. Better I try to seek my relationship from outside place, because I'm not happy and satisfied here, right? So do you think that anybody who gets deviated once will not get deviated second time, third time, fourth time? If I could leave one partner, I can leave 10 partners, right? Who will respect me? कि एक को छोड़ के जा सके तो दूसरे को भी छोड़ सकते हैं ना. Why? Because of difference. Why did you leave? Because she thinks differently, he thinks differently, and we just can't stay together. But what makes you feel that the next place will be better? The next person, आजकल we know a case, first case divorce हो गया, married the second, turned out worse than the first one. So they thought, अरे I should not have divorced, But by the time they came to know that she is also married to somebody else, like you have married somebody else, हो गया. And then they both realized, that girl also realized that I also disagreed with the boy. Boy realized, and both had married again, both divorced again, and they came back together. This is Kali. They came back together because they realized that, Baba, this was only better. But luckily they came back. Not everybody is so lucky. And now they are staying happily together. With differences. And maybe differences are more than before also. But they realize the value of each other. कि अरे यही better है, इधर से बाहर जाके भी going from the devil to the deep sea. So we always have utopian ideas. So this one devotee who was staying in Mira Road, he, as I told you, they felt कि अरे man, they are not doing this way. Preaching should be done like this. JOSD course ऐसे थोड़ी ना करते हैं, it should not be on this day, it should be on that day. Good opinions he was giving, but something which is going on beforehand in Mira Road, before he shifted to Mira Road, opinions welcome, and it's not that nobody is taking the opinions. However, you don't expect that every suggestion I have should be accepted, right? Because you have your way of thinking, but there are people who have been staying there before. They know the logistics, they know what is the difficulty, and they are doing in a particular way. So he just couldn't tolerate. He left Mira Road and shifted somewhere else. And he stayed there for 5 to 10 years, and again he has shifted back to Mira Road. Because he said there also similar things are happening, They are also like this, they are also like that. So, because the problem was not in Mira Road. The problem was in my expectation. That my expectations were not realistic. There cannot be a win-win situation everywhere. There will be differences, there will be. The key thing is to increase your AQ. What is AQ? Adjustability quotient. We always talk about SQ, spiritual quotient, EQ, IQ, emotional quotient, intelligent quotient. But what about AQ? AQ means adaptability, and that is the key thing you need to stay with differences. Just because there are differences, you can't leave. You just can't leave families. You can't leave communities just because there are differences. You will not be able to settle anywhere. You will not be able to be happy anywhere, right? So then deviations like this take place. What deviation? At Prabhupada's time, there were some people who were not satisfied by the way Prabhupada was conducting ISKCON, and they thought, if we go and shift to Radhakund, they are teaching higher things. So they left Prabhupada and they went to Radhakund and they started staying, right? And what did they start feeling? Suddenly they started behaving like, I'm a gopi. They would behave like that. Or I'm a peacock, they will behave like that. We have attained our Siddha there. They all started feeling we have attained. And what was that? It was a deviation. Wasn't it a deviation? Was Prabhupada happy? Was Prabhupada happy? Okay, oh, chalo, good, you are getting your Siddha there. No, it was a deviation. So, the art is to live in the same communities, in the same families. Otherwise, every second person will divorce. We are talking of family divorces, community divorces. Everybody will do that if we don't learn this art of living with differences, with AQ. Right? Then what happens? Entire family life gets disturbed. Communities get disturbed. Nobody is happy, ये इसके ऊपर कीचड़, वो उसके ऊपर कीचड़, वो चलते ही रहेगा. And there is lack of trust from who? Newcomers. They will say, अरे इसमें किसको ट्रस्ट करने का? वाइफ को ट्रस्ट करे कि हस्बैंड को ट्रस्ट करे? बच्चे कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. Whom to trust? Similarly in communities, newcomers get they don't develop trust in ISKCON only. Because they are confused. ये बोल रहा है इसके बारे में, ये बोल रहा है. Forget ISKCON only. So what that it leads to? Bad preaching. It leads to bad preaching, and it affects our material life also, right? Our modes change. When you focus on disagreement, are you in Satogun? Which gun you come into? Rajo and Tamo gun. Yeah. Fighter cock mood. You want to create disturbance. Shanti नहीं रहती है. झगड़ा करना है. His wife was telling that my husband, if few days go by without fighting, he gets each khujli. You should fight, about something. कुछ छोटा सा रीजन निकालेगा. It's the पिटलू रीजन, petty reason, but उसको हाईलाइट करेंगे and इसको मुद्दा बना के फाइट करेंगे, right? And then you lead to forced renunciation. Ultimately, material life is all renunciation is the only thing. But is it organic renunciation? Then there are verbal and physical fights. Is it common? Verbal and physical fights? People will not admit, but in so many devotee homes, there is domestic violence going on. There are bad words being spoken. Is it not very unfortunate that in devotee families this should happen? You get married to a devotee thinking what? That I will be happy. They are Krishna conscious, 4 regulative principles are followed, and they are very sattvic people. They will not succumb to all these things. But if after chanting Hare Krishna, after doing deity worship, after doing Gayatri, after doing preaching and all, I still land up beating my partner. And this is, please note that we are not talking of domestic violence, only husband beating wife. Few cases we have seen today because of the pride of the women, even some women are landing up beating their husband. Poor husband can't say anything in public because it is hurting to his masculinity, right? But what to do, it's happening in family. Speaking bad words, like Prabhuji always says, how can bad words come out of the mouth? The same mouth from which the holy name has come out. Right? And ultimately what there is? Divorce. Ultimate breakup. And one thing is divorce between family.
So yes, I think we have been sufficient weightage given now to understand how we began with the discussion on diversity, and which is fundamental to our existence, created by our own individual egos, and how that leads to disagreements. But we also have come to the very sad realization together as a group today that the disagreements can be extremely destructive. And can really bring out our worst side outside. We all have a good side. As he said, we have black and white. But most of us are not fully white, or we are rather fully black. But when we focus on these differences, what comes out? Which side comes out? The dark side comes out. Is it not? Right? And then look at what happens when those dark side comes out. Something which is, even to hear about physical fights and divorces and offences and conflicts, and even to hear is so toxic to a Vaishnava. Vaishnavas, right? So toxic. But we say it not to make you sad, but to bring to awareness that this can happen and this sometimes unfortunately does happen. Right? Therefore, we say it because we don't want to focus on that, but now we would like to move on to the next part of discussion where what is the solution, right? Highlighting a problem without giving solution is useless. Once a doctor diagnoses a disease but doesn't give the medicine, we have got cancer but doesn't give medicine only. It's useless, right? If you have a desire, you have TB or something, you should give medicine. So yes, we have diagnosed the problem and we understood that it is something which is a serious thing. And all these things will seriously hamper our progress on the path we have chosen. These are all differences are serious speed breakers. And makes all our sadhana become nullified. All our Ekadashi is nullified. All our the festivals and pujas and yatras nullified. Right? All our so everything which you are doing with such tenacity, dedication, your mangalartis, everything you're doing can get destroyed if the stupid mind is not arranged like the Ghoda is there, right? You don't hold the reins. This mind can take us into such a direction, right? And you won't even know where the chariot of our life has landed in a very, very hellish situation. So dear friends, let's withdraw from that understanding now and move on to seeing what Krishna consciousness has to offer. Right? And therefore, Krishna consciousness means Krishna. Krishna means, Prabhupada said, what is Krishna consciousness? Being conscious of Krishna. Right? And how simple and how sublime is the understanding. Therefore, when in any relationship in this world, especially husband and wife relationship, or even community relationship, when we hold dear our own conceptions based on our ego. What is ego? Janasa mohoyam, aham, and mamiti. So when the aham factor is very, very large, aham, right? So I factor is very large. What is the way to think about it in Krishna conscious way? We move on from I to the V factor. Prabhupada now thought about the I factor, that I am Krishna conscious, I am happy in Vrindavan and all along the Mandir. He thought of the V factor, the world. But he is a very large person. He can think of the whole world. We cannot think of the whole world. We are not so big as Prabhupada. Our heart cannot accommodate the whole world. Can we accommodate our small world of at least few people around us? Right? Can we at least broaden our heart to accommodate my wife, my husband, my children, and my neighboring devotees? That is my world. I don't have to deal with devotees in New York and in San Francisco, and they may not be part of my world. It's okay. Chalega. But the world which I am living in, so can I move on from I to V? Right? That means I don't think of what I think is right or my opinion. We have this very vision of the world. You heard this word binary vision? Binary vision
bad.
Binary vision means to look at the world in terms of right, wrong, good, bad, high, low, right? So this is called as binary vision. Jai Jagannath on this one. And therefore, this love which we have comes from our mind. You heard these two words of the mind called Sankalp and Vikalp. How many heard this word Sankalp, Vikalp? Right? Sankalp, Vikalp. And Sankalp, Vikalp means I accept and I reject. So that same mind which gives us the Sankalpa tendency also gives a binary vision to the world when we think as good, bad, right, wrong. Okay, this is understanding. Now, take the next verse this. We are moving on to solutions, so please stay tuned into the discussion. And therefore, when we have this binary vision, if it is right and wrong, and if you are guided by false ego, then you are on which side as far as your opinion? On the right side or wrong side? I am right or wrong? What am I? Right. Okay. And if I am right, then that person, the person is what?
Wrong.
One who has a different opinion, his is a different opinion, but because I have ascribed a right to my opinion, by default I will ascribe what to the other person's opinion, he is wrong. Correct? So we have created a barrier there. Correct? Right and wrong. Then there is something called as, when we have this binary vision, we have superior, inferior. So who's superior? I or he? Who's superior? When the false ego dictates your worldview, who's superior? I or he? I. If I am superior, then he is? If I am wrong, she is wrong. If I am superior, she is or he is inferior. Right? Now, that is the way our mind always plays a very judgmental type of behavior. We keep on judging people like this. And therefore, judgmental behavior is considered. I had a very sad example of this in my life. I was sitting with his left hand. Was in front of the window, so he was very. He was standing with his left hand. We have seen devotees with left hands? No, unless they have a fracture or something. They check with the left hand. He was standing with left hand, and then the wind was blowing, and the shawl flew off. And I saw that the person had no right hand. It was amputated. What happened to your right hand? But the right hand was not even there. So his left hand. So I judged him. The devotee, what kind of a devotee is? Left hand standing at the, this is a muchi hand, this is a suchi hand. This is done, use left aside, don't yagya vakya and all, we don't use these things. But he's chanting with Harinam yagya with left hand. I had what I had done, I had fallen to the pitfall of being judgmental. So we are constantly in the world we live in, we are constantly judging people. Right? And that despair which you create divides us. And that leads to factions. When we go to I to we, I, what does we do? And I means, so what is bhakti? Bhakti is a means by which we are given the tools to destroy, to dissolve and completely annihilate our false ego. This tool is to destroy the biggest enemy we have, which is our own false ego. Correct? And therefore, in relationships, family or otherwise, community relationships, we have to understand three vital principles. One principle which is given is that collective unity is better than individual purity. I'll repeat. Collective unity is superior, is better than individual purity. Why? Because unity pleases Krishna. Unity pleases Krishna. Guru and Krishna. Right? When Guru sees, now Guru is like a father and Krishna is like the supreme father of all living beings. Guru is the father of his disciples and followers and like that. And Krishna is like the father for all living beings. Right? What is the greatest joy of the father? Now some of you are fathers, some of you are mothers here. Right? What is your greatest joy and what is your greatest sorrow? When you see your sons and daughters fighting because of misunderstanding, that gives you joy? No. Every is loving, they fight. Suppose they fight for a while, right? And then again they come back, right? So sometimes you go to family's house, they'll say, "अरे ये बहन भाई ना एक दूसरे के पास चलता भी नहीं है और मिलते तो झगड़ते भी हैं." You heard that sometimes? Their brothers and sisters they will fight. मेरा toy, तेरा toy, like that. But at the end of the day, they cannot even stay without. Is that welcome? Yes, it's welcome. Right? Where you have your differences, you fight over the same toy, but at the end of the day, you are, if the sister goes away somewhere or the brother goes away to the hostel, when is Bhaiya coming? Bhaiya is not coming. Bhaiya is not at the hostel. The sister is crying over here because she is missing the brother. Correct? So we can have differences, we can have our arguments, but at the end of the day, we love each other. Right? We love each other. Correct? So therefore, Krishna is being the Supreme Father, Guru being the Supreme Father also all followers. Like a parent, we must understand that when we have factions and we have infighting, our Gurus and ultimately Prabhupada and Krishna are extremely unhappy with us. And there is no spiritual progress if the Gurus and Krishna are unhappy. Yes, Prasada. If the Guru is not happy, no matter what else you are doing, but we are a cause of fight, struggles, strifes, conflicts, misunderstandings. If we are part of the problem, right, then all our sadhana becomes vifal. Not safal, becomes vifal. Vifal. So that is what we want to be very guarding against. That, as you said, I want to be part of the solution. I don't want to be part of the problem because I can never remain neutral. The first principle is this: collective unity is better than. The second principle to apply in the human relationships is it is better to be kind than to be right. Kind than to be right. If the two things are right and being kind, which will you prefer? Right, Prabhuji, right, you should do the right thing. But in being the right, sometimes we hit it so hard on the person's head, we lose this factor of kindness. Right? In trying to stress the right, we become harsh, we become rude, we become very, very strong opinionated, right? When that happens, we become unkind, right? And that destroys everything. Right? In trying to rectify, the parents are just beating the child to do the right thing. ऐसा करना चाहिए, समझता नहीं है. So they are trying to get the child to do the right thing, but in the process they are being very, very unkind to the child. Will the child learn? No. So if you have to, so in trying to train our children, in trying to live in a community, it is better to be kind than to be focusing only on the right. And the third thing, principle for community living and for family life is judge not that ye be judged. Because if ye judge others strongly, and we judge others, usually we become very, very opinionated. We have opinion on him and her and them and everybody else, right? Become opinionated. If we are strongly judging others, we can be sure, as Christ says in this beautiful sutra, that we will be judged also very severely. Right? We will be judged. And you can imagine, if we are judged severely, what will happen to us? Right? Do we want to be judged severely or do we want to be judged with grace? With grace. That if you are judged with grace, then Krishna is saying, okay, take it. Like we have our Shama mantras after we do our deity worship. Then those mantras are chanted because we want, maybe the Lord, I have made some mistakes in worshipping you. I didn't do the mantras properly, didn't do the procedures properly. I did something which was knowingly, unknowingly wrong, right? But my dear Govinda, I am your servant. Please, you forgive me. So I have done some seva, but I want to be ultimately forgiven. Therefore, I am offensive, I am wrong, I am contaminated, but your grace is my only shelter and hope. Correct? Similarly, in our family life also, we don't want to keep judging people, our wives and children, community members, right? Because we want to be judged by the Lord with a sense of grace, and a sense of justice. If you do wrong, you will be punished. It's the Christian view, right? You go to hell. But in our pranam mantra, we say, Hey Krishna, we want to be judged by that Krishna, who is Karunasana. Correct? So my dear devotees, this is the Krishna factor. Therefore, we want to dominate this, and therefore, when Krishna comes in the center of our lives, it is wonderful, because when Krishna comes, this understanding which we are sharing is Krishna in the center. When Krishna is in the center, what happens? I am out of the center. That means I do, or I say, or I behave. I feel, I speak, I behave, I think the way Krishna would be happy, the way Guru would be happy. However, what I think is not very important, because I am not center of the universe. Who is center of the universe? Krishna is the universe, right? So, the only way Krishna can come in the center of this, my life, is when I leave the center. So, Krishna consciousness means I leave the center and allow Krishna to come in the center of all our relationships. This is called technically as a Krishna-centered lifestyle. It is not interpreting. This is Krishna-centered. Whether you're staying in the temple, you're staying in the family, you're staying in the community, wherever you're staying, when you allow Krishna's opinion, Guru is going to dominate your words, thoughts and actions. They dominate you. Not your ahankar dominates you. Not just your judgmental views about things and people dominates you. But when Krishna's views dominate you, then it is a Krishna-centered lifestyle. Right? And this is what it means to be truly Krishna conscious. And when we do live such a lifestyle, we can be sure and very pleasing to the Lord. Just like this example, you can see rasagullas and gulab jamuns, right? So what is that? Some of you make rasagullas, and I'm sure you will make this understand this point, that when you make rasagullas or gulab jamuns, you make it a few days before or just 1 hour before? You made before rasagullas? You made. I have not made, but I go by your opinion. So you make it few days of it, like for at least 24 hours. Why? Because you have to soak it in the chasni, in the syrup, right? If not, it doesn't become
sweet and soft.
Soft and sweet, right? So my dear devotees, we want to be like those rasgullas, where we soak this message of Krishna consciousness deep within us. Otherwise, from external we look like rasgullas or gulab jamuns. But if we are hard within, that means we are hard-hearted, right? Then we cannot be offered to the Lord. This is not like that hard rasgulla or that hard gulab jamun. Then it is soft Krishna relationship, devotees relationship, so you it becomes very sweet, right? So yes, we have the sweetest thing in our life, and Krishna is Madhuram, Madhure, Yogi. Is the emperor of sweetness, and we are in a movement which is full of sweetness. So let us spread what around us? What should we spread around us? More sweetness, more positivity, right? Let us become ambassadors of sweetness in this harsh world, rude world, very dirty world, right? We become ambassadors of sweetness, ambassadors of positivity, right? Ambassadors of love, correct? And that will make communities so beautiful. It will make our families so beautiful. Here is an example. Prabhupada shared this. So we'll rapidly go through this. We are, I'm sure, in short of time now. Are you still in the discussion with us? Are you with us? How many are with us? Say Haribol. Right. I hope it is helping you in some way to understand how to get, all of us can get better. Correct? So, you see this? Okay.
So if we talk of the key of success, 4 examples which are worthy of remembering, because sometimes examples stick in our mind better than philosophy does, right? So this is the example of 2 goats. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj gave this example that if in a village you see 2 goats, with like big horns, they lock their horns with each other and they're like fighting tooth and nail. You feel they will stab each other and kill each other, with this. And some passerby comes and he just says, hut, 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 hut. Other 2 goats go away in their 2 directions. They don't even look back at each other and they don't have any desire to come together and fight again, right? Because they didn't mean bad to each other. It was just some grass or something they fought and somebody said hut, hut, and they could resolve their difference and go away, right? So Prabhupada said that difference and disagreement in family life is natural, but do not take it seriously. Did the goats take it seriously? They would have done, even if you separate, they'll come back again and again you will separate somebody and again they'll come back, like it happens in Mumbai in local trains, We have people, I don't know, you all have experience, Virar to Borivali and then Borivali to Churchgate, you have to change 2 trains. So if you had a fight from Virar to Borivali and you fought, so you think now Borivali will come, they will get down and forget the fight. But unfortunately, if they'll end up going into the same train again to Churchgate, they will keep fighting for that seat which they had fought off in Borivali to Virar train. That train has gone, now they are both sitting and they are still fighting for that seat which has gone. They took it simply seriously. It was not worth that. Right? Second example is given of thundering in the sun of summer season. Right? If suddenly clouds start thundering in summer season, how many of us will take out umbrella and raincoat and everything? We don't take it seriously. Thundering hai chala jayega, nothing to worry. But if it happens in July, August, September, we'll all be ready with umbrellas and all because you take it seriously. Okay, it will rain. You don't take summer thundering seriously, right? Third is a very beautiful example. How many of you all had this experience of biting your tongue while eating? Khate khate, baat karte karte. You bit your tongue? How many people have had that experience? Almost, right? How is the experience? How is the experience? Very painful, For some time it becomes like anesthetized. Like, oh God, what do you do at that time? What do you do?
What have you all done at that time? Is there a common answer?
Why?
Has anyone done anything else than tolerate?
Did you punch your teeth and break it? How dare you, injure the tongue like that? In fact, when it happens and somebody asks you, what happened? What do you say? Kuch nahi. Nothing has happened. Everybody says that? Nothing, kuch nahi, nothing serious. Right? So that's how disagreements between Vaishnavas, whether it's in the same family or communities, have to be taken. If there are disagreements also, even to our mind we have to tell, kuch nahi, nothing serious. It's okay. Hota hai. We take it like that. And the 4th example given is of 2 lawyers fighting in the court. Right? Suppose we both are the clients and we are fighting, and you both are the clients fighting and we are your lawyers. So he's fighting for him and I'm fighting for you. And in the court, we will, my lord, this is not right, and according to Article 420, phala section, this is right, and he will also say the same thing. And we are arguing out like hell out of each other. We are tired also of arguing. And then the judge says the case is adjourned for tomorrow. And then what happens? The case is adjourned. We both have fought for both of you, but we'll go out and hand in hand we'll say, chal, nice fight we had. Let's have a cup of tea together. Right? अपने को क्या लेना देना है, उनका झगड़ा है. We are तो fighting for money, right? So it's nothing bad we mean for each other, right? So if we understand that deep-seated thing, ultimately for what we are fighting? For my point being right? Even if it is true that one party is right and even the other party is wrong, chalo, accepted, you know. But so what? Is one Vaishnav said very nicely, Vaishnavism, please hear this attentively, Vaishnavism is not at all about right or wrong. There can be two people who can be right. Possible in material world? No. If I am right, you have to be wrong, or if you are right, I have to be wrong. But in Vaishnavism is living with a difference. Right? We have Bhaktivedanta hospital with a difference. It has to be different from other hospitals, right? So same way, if we are Vaishnavas, we have to be little different than what other people are, right? If we are also same like them, then what's the use of our being Vaishnavas? My way is the highway. No, both ways can be highways. You are also right and I am also right. And that's what happens in the spiritual world. Left wing, right wing gopis totally different. But they both are serving together for the pleasure of Krishna. Right? So these 4 examples are given that even though two people can be different, but do not take your differences seriously. Can everybody just repeat that? Do not take your differences seriously. Do not take your differences seriously. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Because of the previous discussion, not worth it because of all that you go through.
That you went down the horror lane. What happens when you focus on differences, right? So much of heartbreak, so much of heart pain, so much of offenses, so much of money is wasted, time is wasted, energy is wasted. We just met one doctor in US, highly placed fellow. When we met him 2 years back, he said, I'm so happy, I just got married and I'm minting money like anything, and I have made, like already I have 3-4 houses in US and big cars I have and everything going well. We met him saying, Prabhuji, I have become bankrupt. We said, what happened? You said you have enough savings and everything. He said, no, because I went through a divorce with my wife and everything is finished. Alimony and the lawyers are taking money. Do you lawyers resolve your case ever? They will keep extending. Why? Because they are getting the malai. They are getting money, no? So why will they resolve your case? They will khicho it. Right? So that's what even material world does to us. If we have difference of opinion amongst us, the material world will fan it. Maya will fan it, na? She is happy. चल 2 डिवोटी का झगड़ा हो रहा है ना, हस्बैंड वाइफ है कि 2 डिवोटी है, मजा आ रहा है मेरे को तो, let's enjoy the show, you know. She will want to enjoy the, but whether we want to do that, right, it's not worth the money, the time, the energy and the heartbreaks, right? So let's understand that 2 different people can also make a great combination. In fact, variety is the spice, right? How many of us feel that black shirt, black pant and white shirt looks really smart? Today is the time of wearing contrast. Everything contrast looks good. Different color blouse, different color sari, not same color. That looks even better. Dark shirt, dark pant, light shirt, black, dark pant. Good combination. Even when you paint your walls, you don't paint everything white. Then it looks like a hospital. Some colored wall, orange colored wall, white colored ceiling, yellow colored different wall. Looks beautiful, you know, aesthetically beautiful. They are different, but there's no harm in being different as long as you don't create a problem with the difference and just highlight the difference, right? So we won't go into this because we don't have time, but just mentioning about it is, how do you resolve these conflicts? This itself is a whole seminar. First of all, you can expect misunderstanding. तो होता है. Don't be surprised. How can there be misunderstanding? होता है. Second is, let there be matbhed. Mat means opinion can be different, but let there not be what? Manbhed. Let us not have heartbreaks because of difference of opinion. You have a different style of preaching, I have a different style of preaching. You have a different style of taking care of the house, I have a different style of taking care of the house. So what? But that doesn't have to make अपना मन खट्टे होने चाहिए. नहीं. और वो avoid fermentation means what? Don't allow the issue to drag for a long time. Sit across and talk it out यार कि ठीक है ना, हो गया, चल, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why? Bringing to the 4th point, because I could also be wrong, right? Is there possibility that I can also be wrong? Or, you know, sometimes people say, I don't want to say sorry because if I say sorry, opposite will say, see, you said sorry, no? You are wrong, obviously. But what does it mean when somebody says sorry? It's not that sorry doesn't mean that they are wrong. Sorry means they value the relationship more. And it is a sign of strength to say sorry. It's not a sign of weakness. Weak people can't say sorry. मैं सॉरी बोल ही नहीं पाएंगे सॉरी आप. हाँ, आपको लगेगा मैं क्यों बोलूँ सॉरी, मेरा गलती नहीं है सॉरी बोलने के लिए. हाँ, सॉरी नहीं बोल पाएंगे सर, छोड़ दो. हाँ, एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट इज let us respect the mutual differences we have. It's okay. Those people who know us, we are completely different type of people, you know. Completely different, make a good combination together. At least we think like that. Right? Because we learned, okay, you know, she's like that, it's fine. He's like that, it's okay, you know. But together we are fine. There's nothing major that is there which has to be disproportionately magnified in our mind, because it's not worth it going through all those disturbances. And if after applying all this, if I'm not able to resolve my differences at any level, then what I have to do? I can always seek senior guidance. Please, it is not below your dignity. No matter how senior we become, you are never so senior that you don't need guidance. Otherwise, we are in biggest maya. We feel I am so senior that I don't need guidance. If we are seeing that we are disturbed, people around us are disturbed, opposite people are disturbed, then please, together we should have that much of maturity to together go to some senior Vaishnava and tell that we can't stay together because this is what he thinks, this is what I think. Can you help us? Right? And there can be a solution. It's not that there cannot be a way out. Right? Last slide.
So, now what we're going to do is make a scale, Taraju.
If you make a scale like this, and on one side you put 100 kgs of potatoes, 100 kilos of potatoes, okay, and on the other side you just put 100 grams of gold. 100 kgs and 100 grams, right? Which palla will you think is more heavier?
Potatoes.
Potatoes, right? But which is more valuable? If you are asked which side you want, potatoes, 100 kgs of potatoes or 100 grams of gold, which will you choose? Which will you choose?
Who likes potatoes here? You'll choose the potatoes, right? No.
Even if you love potatoes, you will still choose gold. Why?
With the gold, you can buy more.
With that much gold, I can buy 1,000 kilos of potatoes, you know. Well, thousands of kilos of potatoes, right? What are we trying to convey through this particular point? That 100 kilos of differences are not worth 10 grams of agreement. Because the things that you agree on are, each one is such a heavy thing. Just take one, Guru. Guru means heavy. Guru, the word Guru means heavy. Bhagavad Gita, such an important thing. Right? Vaishnavas, Vaishnav Seva, such an important thing. Krishna is the weight of the universe. Jagannath. Right? Mahamantra, such an important thing. All these are less, like 100 grams, but each one is so valuable. More valuable than 10, 100 differences which we have, like khana kya khane ka hai. Now, is that anywhere comparison to that? Or, you know, कौन से कलर का कर्टन चाहिए घर में, कौन सी लैंग्वेज बात करनी है, child should go to which school, where money should be used. None of these things can equate to even 1,000th the part of the value of those things which we agree upon. So, which ullu, not aloo, ullu, will focus on aloo. If you focus on aloo, you are ullu only, you know? Right? So, obviously, let us make this as a very important picture in our mind when we have difference of opinion, that it's okay, it's all potatoes here, but we are all agreeing on the, okay, we should do preaching. How we do preaching is secondary. We should worship deities. When we worship the deities, that is secondary. We want to distribute Bhagavad Gita. Which area I distribute Bhagavad Gita is secondary. Our child's education is important. Which school which we put, let us, you come down little bit, I come up little bit, let's come to a mutual agreement. Okay, we both will adjust. It's not that always one party has to adjust, because it cannot be that one party is wrong and one party is right. We have to come to mutual. थोड़ा आप adjust करो, थोड़ा आप adjust. एक ही जन हमेशा adjust करेंगे तो that doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. Both have to realize that we both need to change. Never it can be one is 100% right and one is 100% wrong. Okay. So now,
So then, now the thing is, this is the final slide. This is this final. You have the Mahamantra, right? Everyone has the Mahamantra. Huh? Yeah. So there is, all of you are initiated by Prabhupada in the Mahamantra. Some initiated by the spiritual masters also. But there is another mantra. May not be Mahamantra, but it is a mantra. It's a very great mantra.
Mahamantra.
It's actually a Mahamantra for this world also. Right? And it's a great mantra. And we have taken agency of being gurus, Vishaka and myself. And we were going to, if you like it or not, we are going to initiate you in this Mahamantra. Is all right? I'm going to take Diksha. We require very little Dakshina. Dakshina may not be much. A little bit of one dosa, one idli is all right with us. So we are happy with a little bit of Dakshina. But we want to initiate you in some very important mantra today, which will actually be such a mantra which will really solve all these problems of differences and everything else. Are you all ready? Say Haribol. Okay.
No, it doesn't look that eager to get.
They are not accepting us as guru. They don't think we are good gurus. Anyway.
It's on the lighter side.
Yeah. So,
don't quote and make the video viral.
Anyway, this is just to excite you a little bit. But yes, dear devotees, I think we have communicated sufficiently well at some length, right, what we are talking about. And I'm sure you may not remember all the details we spoke about, but I also am sure, we are all, both of us are sure, that you got the pulse of what we are saying. You got the essence of what we are saying. And that's what you want. And the essence is what we are saying is just putting it in the last slide in just one word, right?
Two-word mantra.
One word mantra. This mantra is so important for us to live in this difficult world, right? And that mantra, if we can establish, can use it. Whenever we have traveled, whenever we have given these seminars of what we are talking to you today, we given this before also a couple of years back in different places in US and other places. And when you go back the next year, they said, Prabhuji, remember you taught us this mantra, I have used this mantra, it really works for me. Thank you very much, you gave us this mantra last year. So people are helped. So I hope it will help you also. So the mantra is
16-word mantra, Mahamantra hai. The 2-word mantra.
two mantras. 2-word mantra. It's so simple, but it's absolutely profound, you can be sure. Just let go of our animosity, our hatred, our judgmental opinion about other people. Let go of our superficial differences, which are created only by Maya, the illusory energy, who wants us to suffer in this world, birth after birth after birth, right? Let us not hold dear those things which will actually separate us, because we are part of this large family. We can only, if we can learn to live nicely in our families of 2, 4, 5, whatever people are there, then we can live nicely in the larger family of communities. And if we do that nicely, Krishna will again reunite us in his own original family, in his own kingdom. Right? So our families, our communities are our rehearsal places. They are like our practical laboratories where the beautiful principles of bhakti which we learn so deeply from our classes, from senior Vaishnavas, from our spiritual masters, we hear classes, right? But today what we have brought to you, all of you dear devotees, is bringing those teachings to absolute grassroots, what we call, right? That means it doesn't remain an armchair philosophy within our own mind, right? And there are 3 levels, I'll end with this, the 3 levels of learning. One is the level of the brain, right? Which we all do by Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya, we hear Bhagavatam every day, or we read Bhagavatam every day. Most sincere devotees will be doing that, right? The second is going to the level of the mind, from the brain to the level of the mind. It is sinking more deeper, right? And you start acting at that level. Do you know what is the meaning of the word submissive oral reception? This is Prabhupada's favorite phrase which he himself has coined, which no other English author has ever used in the world. Submissive oral reception. Prabhupada translates that as submissive oral reception means hearing with the desire to follow with sincerity. Hearing the desire to follow with sincerity is called as submissive oral reception. When we hear with that attitude, it comes to the level of our mind, we start following it. That means we're practicing what we are hearing. We're put the knowledge into action. Therefore, it's come from the level of the brain to the level of the mind. And then, my dear devotees, as we keep on practicing that day after day, year after year, then it descends to the level of our heart. Right? Becomes a part of us, becomes our conditioned response in Krishna consciousness. Becomes something which we just do naturally. We naturally forgive. We naturally let go. We naturally don't allow ourselves, minds to be carried away by things which will separate us, divide us, create factions among us. We naturally live a life which is positive, more uniting, more kind, more loving, more family oriented. Right? We naturally live like that. So that is the third level. And when we live like that, that means we are living Bhagavatam. We are not just hearing Bhagavatam. We are not thinking about Bhagavatam. We are not speaking about Bhagavatam, but we are living the Bhagavatam. Right? When we do that, then that is called as a realization. It's called realization. Right? So thank you all very much for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's been a long time. Sorry for taking so much time.
I know.
This topic was such important that we couldn't have erased it too fast. Is there time for questions or should we end here? It's already way beyond normal time, I know. Half an hour beyond normal time. But is there time for questions or should we just discuss one-to-one? Take questions and comment.
Prabhuji says.
Huh? One from Mataji's, one from Prabhu's. That is the command.
Prabhuji has a question.
Thank you so much, Prabhu and Mataji, for such a wonderful presentation. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we see in several places where coming to the dealings between spouses, which we were discussing some time back, we were discussing about mutual respect. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that women, at least it appears that they are advised to be more submissive. The case of Shakuntala and Shravanamani, or Devavati and Kartama. Prabhupada also writes in many places that they have to be this way. So how do we understand this? One side we are discussing it as mutual differences, but another side, Srila Prabhupada is putting it this way.
Are they contrary? Why would you say that having mutual respect for each other is against of being submissive? It is not contrary. They both are totally congruent type of factors. Now, in a loving relationship between husband and wife, submission is not one-sided. Even though traditionally our scriptures talk about that quality as prominently being exhibited by women, in a truly loving relationship, husband also is submissive to the wife. The example is Lord Ramchandra himself. His wife is saying, I want this deer. And I was saying, this is not a normal deer. Lakshmana is saying this is a fabricated deer. This is a Photoshop deer. Right? Blue colored this, red colored that, and green colored this, and gold colored spots. This is fabricated. This is not a 84 lakh species. But Sita is insistent. What does Ram do? Is he submissive to Sita's desire? The Lord himself, right? He still gives into Sita's desire. Is he being submissive to Sita? He is. Why? Because he out of love. Correct? Out of love. So, in a truly loving relationship, being submissive to the desire to please each other. I'm here to, when I say I love you, love is to serve, and to serve is to please. Right? And in any two relationships or in anything among in the community, then this is the mood. That I love you. I love all these devotees. That means what? I want to serve them and I want to please them. Now when that kind of pleasing is there, that automatically is taking a submissive role. I want to please you. I don't want to boss over you. I don't want to order you. I don't want to command you, but I want to please you. And that is the mood of being servant of the servant of the servant. Correct.
We can give it to him if Mataji don't have a
You are not a Mataji, but you can ask. Ultimately, we are all Prakriti, so no.
Prabhupada says in the, I'm like little difficult to understand that statement, that most of the time it is the woman who should much think about the relationship.
Say it again.
Like Prabhupada put it sometimes, like this is the woman's responsibility to have a relationship, like in the husband-wife. Similarly, like when the Prabhupada's sister, so the husband was like drunkard and they used to have non-veg. But still Prabhupada told that the Mataji that you have to tolerate, you please adjust with this guy. So and in the Ramayana also believe like Lord Ramchandra, he gave more importance to the dharma. He loved dharma more than the Sita Mata. I might be wrong. You can please correct me. So like this. How we can understand that mutual relationship, and nowadays we see that boys are too much concerned of how to make the relationship, this and that. And when we go to the cities, we find more divorces than when we go to the village culture, where the men are masculine and females are feminine, and they have the tendency to adjust and go with this thing.
Divorces are more in cities than villages because they are masculine and feminine.
No, in cities it is more the complex environment. But when we go to the village culture, the divorces are not heard much.
Oh.
Well, they are no longer anything like cities and villages, more or less now, with the powerful internet being everywhere, social media being like Maya everywhere. No, Maya is everywhere. No, so Maya has used the social media platform to reach everywhere. But your core question is about?
The core question was that is the responsibility of
All the women alone?
Yes.
Right.
I was not able to understand that statement.
Yeah, okay. So let me try to see.
Where did Prabhupada say this? Where does he say this?
It's there.
And we never heard this.
Yeah, it may not be, it may be, even if you have said it, maybe I can share some thought on this. You see, okay, so,
that way.
so you see, there is two things. One is called as buddhi, and other is called as medha. Okay, so the men are endowed by Krishna's element to have more buddhi. Buddhi means intelligence, how to conduct the family, earn for the family, run the whole show, be economically productive, live in the outside world, be more worldly wise. All this requires what? Buddhi. On the other hand, Krishna being the perfect creator, knows that things have to be in harmony also. So only buddhi is not sufficient. You require medha. So medha is translated as emotional intelligence. Who did he give that faculty to? The women. Right? So when there is a combination of medha and buddhi, because the women are endowed with that faculty more than men. And men are offered more buddhi than women. Right? But it is not about higher and lower again. Why? Because they are supposed to be a combined unit. And the unit together, medha and buddhi, is perfect. Because one is more brain, other is more heart. Right? And therefore somebody is more medha would be able to tolerate more, adjust more, adapt more, create more harmony, because that faculty has been endowed more in the women. Right? It does not absolve men to be like that. Doesn't mean that this is your side, right? It's not my side. I'm not supposed to play a role in the harmony. I'm only supposed to earn. I'm the breadwinner of the family. You see, if you say that, you say I'm the jam winner. You're the breadwinner. Women will say that, right? Nowadays they get the jam. So this is the two sides. You understand what I'm saying? So it is based on the beauty of Krishna's creation and the expertise and the brilliance of Krishna to bring forth two powerful forces in a man and a woman, so that together they can conduct the family in a very powerful way, live in the outside harsh world, and yet create harmony in the family. Right? This is Krishna's brilliance. Okay? Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Okay, I think we had two questions only to this thing. I thank you all for your question. Here we've been sitting for a long time now. Your backs must be hurting now. So let's chant Mahamantra once loudly with raised hands. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Prabhupada ki.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.